can, and we'll spectate this new game for you.
What game are we getting into?
We're gonna jump into Phonetap's game here.
Okay.
As soon as I can get his opponent as well, we will jump in there. So let's fire this up. He is playing. He's playing Gera89, who you may remember from the European Championships last year.
Okay, not at all, but okay. I'll take your word for it, Cal.
He was the big underdog last year.
Okay.
You know, some of us are going to pay attention, I guess.
Yeah. That's what you're here for, man. So, are you in the game yet?
I am in the game, yes.
Okay, so it is a Phonetap playing the old Freeze Mage, which is always fun.
Yeah, he's playing Freeze Mage, which I'm a big fan of the Freeze Mage. You see the Antonidas there, which is a card that some people have been cutting from different variations of Freeze Mage, and the Pyroblast as well, which we just have come back in. Apologies for not having the top hand for you. Obviously, we're just jumping into this to give you guys some extra content. So we'll just see who won the first game, so we can actually update that score for you as well.
Yep, so Phonetap, although obviously we can't see the Druid hand, Phonetap is, I guess, sort of statistically unfavoured, being the Freeze Mage versus the Druid, but Freeze Mage can definitely get some work done here, and you know, it's definitely not a foregone conclusion, not that any matchup is, to be honest. And he does have an okay start. We see the Thanos get dropped early, like you see in a lot of these matches, where the Thanos is just used for card draw. And his follow-up, kind of a tough one because the Shade's down. He's really going to want to go for a... Oh, this is kind of nice, actually. So this is pretty much demanding a Keeper of the Grove from Gera, or his Shade dies, or he attacks with it and maybe, you know, like attack swipe would be good enough here, but it does reveal the Shade and open it up something like Frostbolt Ping next turn.
Yep, there's definitely a lot of merit to an early Doomsayer in against a deck that's so dependent on board development like Druid. He's going to want to be playing something like a Druid of the Claw or a Sludge Belcher. We do see Gera has the golden Keeper of the Grove here to silence that Doomsayer, so is going to be able to keep that Shade alive, which could be pretty crucial going down this line. And Ice Barrier drawn, so two secrets in hand for Phonetap here. Draws into Icelands, but nothing really doing for Phonetap here. Needs to get some more freeze. Gets that Frost Nova off the Arcane Intellect. So we're looking to pick up his AoE going into turn 6 and 7, the Blizzard and the Flame Strike. Has that Thanos on board, which is... It's a little bit of a threat, to be honest, for Gera. He's going to be a little bit concerned about the AoE that can come down and things that can happen with that Thanos. So it's whether, when he decides to take, say, 2 mana to clear that up with the Hero Power, it looks like that might be now. Yeah, so gonna clear up that Thanos, and what can he develop for 4 mana here? If he has a Shredder or something like that. Nope, nothing else to develop for Gera here, so just a Hero Power and pass.
Yeah, so that's always kind of rough when you actually just hero power pass on turn 6 against something like this. It's really rough because you just don't gain the momentum you need to actually close out the game.
Yeah, just trying to see if we can get you this top hand. I think there's no real way to get in touch with Gera, unfortunately. So yeah, and Gera decided to reveal the Shade there, losing that to the Frostbolt and Ping there from Phonetap. What do you think about the decision to reveal that Shade?
Yeah, I think the problem is as well, like, because he'd use one Keeper of the Grove. If another like Frost Nova or Doomsayer comes out as well, then you know you're running out of answers, and if you don't get any damage from the Shade, then you're definitely feeling a little bit rough.
Yeah, and you can see that Phonetap, I think he probably has something like combo in hand, or double Savage, or some way of finishing this game fairly soon, because he went for that Druid of the Claw in charge mode.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it as well is like Druid of the Claw in taunt, other than having extra health, doesn't really guard you too much against the Freeze Mage.
Yeah, it's it doesn't really help. And going into turn 6, I guess you don't mind too much about the 4 health. Does mean you're only going to get a couple of turns, but Coin Flame Strike from Phonetap. Maybe didn't track the coin well enough. Does lose the board here.
Yeah, so on a... Oh, that's a... Oh, wow. Wrath for 1 on a 0/7. Yeah, minion's coming in useful for Gera here, and he does drop the Emperor, so...
Thorson that came off the Wrath.
Yeah, and now the problem now for Phonetap is he suddenly has to start being a tiny bit afraid. He needs to try and deal with this Emperor, as well as defend against all the crazy shenanigans the Emperor can cause. So what are his options? He can get like Ice Block to guarantee like not death, but I think he really needs to just deal with this Emperor more than anything. So we might even see Frost Nova Ice Lance hero power to kill off the Emperor here, because it's definitely not something you can leave up for more than one turn versus a Druid, but the options definitely suck.
So this is a good turn for Phonetap to maybe start developing these secrets. He doesn't have any way to kill this Thaurissan, so he needs to do something to really advance his position, and you can see all 4 secrets in hand for Phonetap, which is a pretty sorry state of affairs. Doesn't get his Mad Scientists, which are a pretty crucial form of card draw in this deck.
Yeah, the only benefit is, though, because he's not played a Mad Scientist yet, having at least the secrets in hand means he can manage some damage. And Phonetap's gone with sort of guarding against the damage from the Emperor, but letting the Emperor hit for another turn in terms of his ability, which is going to reduce Gera's hand even more, which is definitely scary.
A little bit of damage reduction there for Phonetap Ice Lancing the Thaurissan, and perhaps a little bit of a bluff, because he's played the secret there, which you would think he would want to get triggered so he can build that, so he can get that armor and make things a little bit more difficult. Because when you're playing against an Ice Barrier Freeze Mage, you want to try and get through it in one turn if possible. So Gera might want to try and get that out of the way with something like another Druid of the Claw, or any kind of damage you would have from hand. Yeah, preventing the damage coming in, making it look like that's maybe the first Ice Block that Phonetap's developed.
Whoa!
Okay, let's see.
Does he think it's Ice Block? Because he's going to be very, very upset.
Well, that's going to be 15, 19.
So he thinks it's... I think he thinks this is Ice Block, and this will proc the block this turn, and it won't. So this could be really problematic, because now we can see that Phonetap has 2 Ice Blocks in hand, so he can gain even more turns, probably not expecting that Ice Barrier. And I think he did get bluffed into the fact that, that looked like an Ice Block because he froze the Emperor.
He didn't attack with the Keeper.
He played the Keeper that turn.
The Keeper.
Yeah. But that was interesting, because he Ice Lanced, it looked like it was Ice Block, and he was guarding against proccing the block.
Yeah.
So he made that play. Now suddenly double Savage Roar is gone.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's huge for Phonetap to know that's not an option.
Yeah, and there's another Ice Barrier going to get played for another +8 health, because Druid, especially on like this health for the Mage, doesn't really have a way to like spell their opponent down with like just swipes or something.
Yeah, I'm allowed 1 dirt because I called the Ice Barrier Ice Block bluff, so I get 1. Everybody gets 1.
Yeah,
and you can see Gera's drawing cards here, but Phonetap doesn't have to be worried about the combo anymore. And this is really interesting, because this is a matchup which generally is thought to favour the Druid, mostly because of the combo and the ability to burst your opponent down from such high health that they don't expect. But actually, now this is a completely different game.
Yeah, I imagine we might actually see some combination of Frost Nova, Ice Block, and with that, and then like maybe just Loot Hoarder. Because what you do now is he wants to set up to be able to Alexstrasza, and then Pyro, and and then hopefully have some more burn to finish him off after that. And the Frost Nova will help him do that. And it's whether he wants to use Frost Nova now or wait till next turn and do Archmage Antonidas Frost Nova. But I think using it now is going to be important.
Yeah, so just going to go for the Frost Nova and the Ice Block, building up the Loot Hoarder, so really no way for Gera to pop the block this turn. Second of Ancient of Lore to draw cards. But again, this is the point at which if you were Phonetap normally, if you hadn't seen that double Savage Roar, you'd be really worried about the potential for combo because he'd drawn so many cards. But actually, he doesn't have it. So the swipe, the spell-powered swipe, it has to go to face for Gera because he doesn't have enough damage. And there's a Blizzard, another way to stall for Phonetap.
Yeah, and that's going to be really good for him. I think, though, he might actually go for Antonidas Arcane Intellect this turn. Potentially, it's going to be... Oh, he's just going to Arcane Intellect anyway, so he's going to go for the Blizzard. He wants to draw some more burn like that Fireball, so now we might see Alexstrasza next turn and then build up from there, because he can whip in, like, Fireball, Ice Block, and then Pyro to guarantee that he doesn't die.
Yeah, he doesn't quite have enough burst damage in hand, I think, to be really comfortable with that line of play. But obviously 1 Frostbolt, and I think one Ice Lance is gone.
Oh, is this gonna... Okay, 6, 7, 9, 10. This still doesn't proc the block, though.
No.
I think that's kind of interesting. Oh, unless he can.
Okay, he's got double living roots.
Oh, well, okay, that makes reasonable sense. I was going to say, if you can proc the block... Oh, no, he doesn't. Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah. I'm being silly. Yeah, so he needed to proc the block if you're going to make a play and use burst. So this forces the block, or the second block, if Phonetap has it out of him.
Yeah, and it reduces the ability of Phonetap to play anything else this turn. So Antonidas Ice Block seems decent. There's Heal Bot as well.
Yeah, the problem now that Phonetap has because of that block proc is that Antonidas and then Ice Block. Well, his block gets procced again, and then he can't Alex Straza. So he pretty much needs to try and defend himself, but there's no way he can do it, actually. I think this might actually be a loss for Phonetap.
Yeah, it's looking pretty grim here. I mean, the Druid is a bad matchup for the Freeze Mage. It's definitely one that they struggle with. The second Blizzard was good to be able to freeze the board and hopefully take care of these 5-1s next turn. So second block does get popped, so both blocks and both Savage Roars are out of this game now. So where do we go from here?
Yeah, well, the problem is, like, Phonetap won't be able to clear this board. So, and he can't, like, even Alex Straza himself does nothing here. So he can, yeah, he's just going to suicide. There's actually, I don't think there's any way. Oh, Doomsayer, I guess. But even then, there's Hero Power. So, and it is a mini-bot. He could have got Doomsayer and then played Healbot. But yeah, that was a bit of a stretch, actually. So he did go for his only out that game, but that was definitely rough. That proc in the block with the double living roots was actually huge. That actually just won the Druid the game there.
Yeah, I mean, if he hadn't had the second living roots there after getting rid of the 2 Savage Roars early, that would have been really problematic for Gera. We're getting into game 4. Gera 2-1 up against Phonetap here. Of course, this is single elimination, and Phonetap's going to have to win a Druid Mirror here. There's an Ancient Award that can help in the Druid Mirror.
Yeah, definitely. As normally by then you'd imagine the Keeper of the Groves are actually out of the way. But more importantly, I think for Phonetap, the Wild Growth is in hand, and that's going to be pretty important now.
All right, yeah, Wild Growth in hand for Phonetap. Still don't have Gera's hand for you, unfortunately. Have tried raising Gera in many ways, but have been unable to get a friend request through. Feels bad, man. Rejecting my friend request at every opportunity.
He never wants to be your friend.
I interviewed Gera actually before the European Championships last year, but I thought we hit it off, but clearly not. Clearly
Maybe he doesn't recognize your battle tag. Maybe that's the issue.
Well, that's possible. That is possible. That is the problem with my battle tag. It's not recognizable. That's all we'll say. Well, we'll see if Gera has anything like Innervate Shade. No, nothing to play here. And see, Wild Growth into Innervate is really interesting.
Yeah, and I imagine it's depending on what comes out this turn. Of course, like Innervate into Azure Drake feels pretty good because you don't really need the taunt that early. And if they like swipe the Azure Drake, then fine, you can still follow up. You have your own swipe. Or I just don't think Druid of the Claw does that much. But there's his own Innervate from Gera, and he does go into Pilot Shredder. So suddenly the Innervate into Druid of the Claw looks a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's interesting, though. The Innervate Azure Drake Living Roots is an option. Clear up the first part of the Shredder. And that looks like what he's going to go for.
Oh, this is pretty okay, actually. But this is just a bit scary because, like, if a 3-attack minion comes out, then you're only demanding a hero power. Or if a 4-attack minion comes out, then you've just used a lot of resources to actually just get killed there.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate Shredder drop for Phonetap. Feels like things aren't necessarily going his way. So we'll see if he's able to do anything. We'll see what Gera has in hand as well. It just plays a Shade, which is nice, able to develop his board. But actually, and yeah, the Azure Drake goes down. I was going to say, if he leaves the Azure Drake up, the possibility of Swipe killing the Shade there was very real. But just going to go for the Druid of the Claw.
Yeah, I think the Druid of the Claw is just safe. He does have the follow-up with the Shade, as you said, and another Pilot Shredder comes out from Gera, so not too shabby for Gera, we can see.
Well, your dog has some real problems, Alex. I don't really know what his issue is. I think you couldn't see this, but Alex had to give the dog some cuddles earlier because it was a very needy and emotional dog, clearly traumatized by the the shellacking that Ajax got, unfortunately. So the shade continues to grow. Pilot shredders on either side. We'll see what Gera can do to get through this taunt here if he has anything. Coin Thorison perhaps. Yeah, that's what we're going to see. So I wonder what it is that Gera has in his hand that he's discounting. If he has pieces of combo, that's going to feel pretty good. There is the full combo for Phonetap.
Speaking of combo.
Yeah, it's a couple of turns away from it right now, but there's a shade as well to come down this turn. So it would potentially do a lot of damage with the combo. So any good way to line up the swipe here? I guess you can swipe the shredder, trade into the Thorison with your shredder, and then play the shade.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I actually wouldn't even mind playing the shade, running the shredder into the Thorison, and then actually playing and then going face with the druid. To be honest, the druid of the claw, because you put pressure on, and the second you start making plays like that in the mirror, your opponent starts to think, okay, he just has combo, or he wouldn't have attacked like that. He would have killed the 2/3, and then that makes them consistently try and play around combo.
They put you one off lethal as well. Oh, and the Annoyatron is a great pickup.
Yeah, that's pretty huge actually. The Annoyatron is just going to be even more difficult, and bear in mind it's only a 1/2, but it can actually just get buffed from Savage Roar for even more damage.
Yep, any minion on the board at this point is a win for Phonetap. So how much does he have here? 7 plus the 8, 15, and of course the 14 from the Force of Nature. So 29 damage for Phonetap potentially. So Healbot not enough. Needs to be Reno Jackson or something like that for Gera to get out of this. Or of course,
those common cards you see in Druid all the time: Healbot and Reno Jackson.
Yeah, Reno Druid, it's a thing.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Maybe it's a thing.
Yeah, so he does have to have like one more turn as well. So he can maybe put up some taunts, try and deal with this Druid of the Claw at least. But it is going to be difficult. Nothing lines up particularly well, and if he has to hero power down the Druid of the Claw, then it's even more damage and puts him even closer to just that combo lethal.
He's running out of time here. The rope is burning, and unfortunately we can't analyze his decision making because we can't see his cards.
He's just going to play cards from his hand.
He's got to play some cards from his hand this turn. It's very crucial he plays cards. Okay, so he's got the Wrath. He's giving away his shade here.
Yeah, and this is the issue when you start to fall behind in this matchup. You always stay behind a lot of the time. And if there's a minion, this is huge, and it's not, so it's only a Wrath. So he can clear up the 2/2, but that's it.
Yeah, and that was it shows the Savage Roar, the swipe earlier on from Phonetap was absolutely crucial because it meant that Gera couldn't keep the shade alive when he traded into the Druid of the Claw.
Yeah, it was pretty big. As knocking off a shade is huge in this matchup, just because the amount of damage it can represent through a Savage Roar combo. I actually just like Wrath. Wrath attack face with the 1/2 and then just go for it. It makes the Annoyatron actually difficult to clear because you almost certainly have to run the Lothar in. If there's a Keeper of the Grove to clear up, fine, something like that. But if a Keeper of the Grove comes down, that's a lot of mana your opponent has to spend with only having 7 total to just remove a 1/2, and then you still just combo him dead. So, there's a lot of positives here from this Wrath. He does Wrath for 1 though, so I'm not quite sure about that. But being on 31 health, I guess it doesn't really matter.
It keeps the shade as well. Doesn't even attack face with it.
Yeah, well the issue is if he attacked with the shade this turn, then the Lothar kills the shade. So he wants to just wait because he has Force of Nature.
Yeah, if you'd Wrath the 2/2, I think attacking with the shade would have made sense. Yeah. So we'll see. That's going to be 6 out of the 14, so 20 damage for Phonetap here. Not quite enough. There's an Ancient of War. That's probably just going to get played. Oh, not in +5 attack, unfortunately. Love to see a 10 attack Ancient of War there. Doesn't exactly
do the old admirable uproot that you did in
exactly.
NA prelim. I was going to say then, now you attack with the shade because your shade is significantly guarded. And even if a Keeper of the Grove comes down, well, he can't play both. Well, he's already used to Keeper of the Grove, right? I can't remember.
There's one Keeper of the Grove, I think, already.
So there's Emperor. I don't know if that's going to do too much, though. But you might actually just play Emperor and Hero Power here to try and force out the attack on the shade. Force out the attack from the shade of Gera. Let's go for the Drake to draw, though. Oh, and you can pick off the 5-1 with the keeper. And this has actually turned out really nice with Phonetap because, again, all he's doing is having more minions to be able to, proc that Savage draw.
Yeah, the dog, obviously a big fan of the Keeper of the Grove top deck there. So excited.
The dog's just Savage drawing. It's fine.
Well, that was esports in dog language. He was shouting esports as that was happening. And suddenly this is looking problematic for Phonetap. Might have to actually use this combo to clear, which he's been trying to line up into lethal for quite a few turns. Because, I mean, if Gera has lethal on the has combo in the backswing here, but he might just go for the draw from Ancient of Lore. Do you have to combo to clear here?
I mean, he can because he has Ancient of Law, so he can combo this turn, Ancient of Law next turn, but it looks like he's going to get a second Savage draw and a Shredder, so nothing too valuable. It's always rough playing Ancient of Law without saying Innovate in hand when you're behind, because you normally want to innovate out, like another minion or, a swipe or something like that, and well played signifies a pretty hefty looking combo coming Phonetap's way.
I'm just trying to think. I mean, there's more than enough damage there. But was there potential that if Phonetap had used the Savage Roar to clear the Keeper, he would have survived?
So we're going 4, 8, 12. I can't remember what minions were on, but 4, 8, 12, 20. I don't think so. Not with the shade as well.
It probably still would have been lethal. But yeah, there you go. Phonetap dropping out in our first round to Gera89. I did say Gera is a player you might have heard of before from the European Championships, but Phonetap going down there. So we saw Phonetap losing and Hoy winning in the first round. A couple of big games already there for you, Alex. Hoy performing to expectations, Phonetap maybe not so.
Yeah, but this is how brutal a single elimination last year standing format is. It's really rough, and I think everyone who plays